Hello, my loves. I want to talk about labels and how holding on too tightly to a label can stunt your spiritual and emotional growth. Now, labels have their place for helping you find your place in the world, in this physical 3D world that we are living in. Labels have their place of helping you find your community, but labels can also constrict you. And the thing with labels, so for instance, me, I am a spiritual life coach with ADHD on the neurodivergent spectrum. I also am a writer. I also am a spiritual practitioner, a witch, a pagan. There's different labels for me. And I've had different labels in the past that I've assigned myself with that no longer served me. So I had to move on from them. And now I am what I am now. But these labels have all helped me find community, right? Life coaching, of course. I find clients, I find other life coaches who are on the same level I am, spiritual practitioner, spirituality, particularly Black and brown women, because in my coaching, I serve Black and brown women to help them create a life of balance and peace, a soul deep happy life, hence my business, Soul Deep Happy Coaching. And so, that has helped me find my community there. Me having ADHD, speaking about being neurodivergent, that has helped me find community there. And also me speaking out on it has helped other people in that community. So these labels are going to be helpful in you finding your place in the world and the friends that you interact with and everything like that. Yes, they have their place. But sometimes a label can be, I'm going to compare it to clothing. Sometimes a label, like a piece of clothing, no longer fits you the way it once did. You're no longer rocking it. You're no longer feeling as sexy as you did before when you were wearing it. You no longer feel as comfortable as you were when you were wearing it. But because you've had it for so long, you don't want to let it go. There's an attachment to it. Like, no, I can't let it go. I've had so many memories in this outfit. You know what I mean? But you have to, because it no longer fits you and it no longer serves you. And so you have to go that process of, okay, I have to get rid of it, knowing that it's going to fit somebody else better. This happens more as well, like for instance, if there's a belief system tied to that label, if it's a particular religion that you've grown up with, a particular outfit that you've grown up wearing, but now you may see that who created the outfit is no longer who you align with or you find fault with. And then you have to go through this process of who am I without this label? Because that's another thing too. The bigger the label, the more we can tie ourselves up in it. And then we become disconnected from, because here's the thing about us, our soul having this human experience, is how to find the balance between having the human experience in this physical 3D world and staying connected to your divinity and to your spirit, because everything is spirit, mind, and then body. Everything happens in the spirit, and then we then go to the mind, the neurons, the brain chemistry that happens from whatever is happening to your spirit, to your emotional center, and then it goes into your body, spirit, mind, and body. So some labels, it's very easy for us to tie ourselves tightly around, and we get too centered in the physical and are slowly detaching ourselves from our spiritual center, which is what causes a dissonance, which is when everything starts to go wrong. It's when you'll start to get your body will tell you what's going wrong, and your mind will tell you what's going wrong. When you start to feel anxious, depressed, literally sick, all of those things will happen. And you have to now find the balance and release it. When your label is tied around a belief system, it takes longer to release it, and it's harder to release it, but it's necessary to do so, because nothing is permanent in this world. We are meant to experience different things and then flow and move on from there. We're in a constant state of flow. My spirit team has been telling me that water is something I need to be working with a lot more, which I do. And it's this idea of staying in flow, of flowing with change, understanding that nothing is permanent, understanding that there is ebb and flow in everything. And that is where you need to, that's the space you need to be at. Is this idea that, yes, okay, this label is helping me find my community and these people, but I also need to acknowledge when that label is no longer serving me, or when I feel that it is separating me from my spiritual center. If at any time that label is starting to do that, I need to release that label because it is not for me. For instance, I am ADHD, as I said, autistic and ADHD. But I'll read things on Geminis because I'm a Gemini, and I'm like, wait, am I neurodivergent or am I a Gemini? Because like they are very similar things. So then, is it written in the stars? Is it all astrological, or is it that it's an actual brain chemistry thing? Or is it just, yes, spirits, everything happens spirit, and then brain chemistry from that? So is it just that? Not that all neurodivergent people are Geminis, obviously not, but I found it really interesting that a lot of the things that I label as my ADHD can also be attributed to me being a Gemini. So this is why you have to take these labels with a detachment as you would of it being clothing. That didn't feel like proper English, but we're going to flow with it anyways. You need to take it as if it is a piece of clothing that you're wearing. Yes, I look flawless in it. This is wonderful. I'm going to rock it until it no longer fits me. And then I'm going to let it go and evolve to something else until I understand, okay, to move into this next phase of my life, I need to get rid of all my clothing, right? Or a majority of it. And then at that point, okay, cool. I'm going to get rid of a majority of this clothing because I'm moving into this new phase and it's going to be great. And I'm okay with that. There has to be an ease with you moving from one to another. And I think that's where a lot of times people struggle, is when they have to release a certain identity, a certain label, because when they release that, they don't know what they are next. Does that make sense? Because, so for instance, it's like getting rid of one of your favorite pieces of clothing. You give it away and now there's this void in your closet. There's okay, what's the next thing that I'm going to be, or the next item that I want to purchase? Sometimes you don't even need to worry about it. That's not something to worry about. You just need to like let it go and then move forward and live your life. And you may be walking by a store and see an outfit that you think is beautiful and you're like, oh, that's the new thing. And then you pick it up and then you move forward from there. But there has to be this, you have to find comfort in not being identified, in releasing a particular identity you thought was yours. I'm trying to tap into my spiritual center here to get this message through. You have to be okay with being unencumbered by labels, which can be scary because we have been told, or how society is set up, is that labels define who you are. And to step away from that label, to step into I am nothing and everything. I am nothing and everything. To step into that is its own fear. Because not being tied to a label means you then have to find community within yourself. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Right. Okay. So basically, finding community within yourself, staying grounded within yourself, not looking for, this is where the balance comes in again, not looking for validation in other people, in other things, not looking for connection. You first have to make sure the connection within yourself is strong and stable. Ooh, my ear is ringing. Yeah. You need to make sure the connection within yourself is strong and stable to be able to be centered and give of yourself no matter what community you're in. Yes. Okay. No matter what community that you're in. This is a thing with watching my videos too. Sometimes I'll get a message from Spirit comes through and I'm like, wait, pause. Let's Janae step aside for a second and hear what's coming through. You need to be centered within yourself so that whatever piece of clothing you pick up along the way, you are secure in wearing it and you know your place. So no matter what community that new label sends you into, you know your own place and you can thrive no matter what community you end up in, you can thrive. So yes, you have to be okay with being nothing and everything. Oh, that was a beautiful way to say it. Thank you, Spirit. Appreciate that. You have to be okay with that. And that is the challenge if you don't know how to actually do it. How does that look like? Let's see. I know sometimes they give this message and they don't tell you the how of how to do it. How to do it is doing the work for yourself. And they're kind of laughing. It's signature to each person, which is why it's hard to give you advice on exactly how to do it tailored to you. Because you have to look through and see what label am I tied to? How am I making it my identity? You have to unlearn what that label has tied you up in. I know that's not proper English either. I'm just trying to get this message out. You have to deconstruct what you've thought of yourself. You have to take a look at yourself and really decide, is this label working for me? How has it helped me? But also, what do I need to do to be okay and grounded? Look, there are numerous, you can do breathing exercises, breathwork exercises to help regulate your body as you're going through this system, because your nervous system has to be regulated. And that is a struggle, because regulating your mind and your body is important to you handling and grounding yourself in spirit. But as I said, all connected. You can be doing these beautiful breathing exercises. There's numerous different ones that you can do. Mine that I often do is the 3-6-6-6-6. Breathe in deep for a count of 6, hold for 6, and breathe out down for a count of 6 as well. So I call it 6-6-6 breathing, but that's the one that I do that helps me a lot whenever I'm feeling anxious. But it's a personal journey that you have to do with yourself, and it requires mindset shifts as well. You can look at my past videos. You can look on social media as well. I have a bunch of different mindset exercises that you can do, but you have to be in that space when it comes to labels of knowing when a particular one that you've worn is no longer serving you, and that it's time to put it down and to let it go. And to let it go, understanding that you may never wear anything close to that label again. But that's okay, because you're just going to exist, because you're a divine, powerful soul existing in this physical body. And you don't really have to worry about what label comes your way, because you're just existing and thriving and experiencing the amazing world that you're in. The struggling world that you can be in, but amazing nonetheless, right? And so that can also help as well. And maybe that is it, right? Is reminding yourself that these labels are just helping you get through the physical world, but reminding yourself that you are always a divine, powerful soul in this physical body. You're a divine, powerful soul in this physical body. So labels are going to help you find your community and move forward, but that's not the whole of you. So you have to remind yourself of that. Like, it's okay if I don't know where I fit right now. I'm just going to experience life and enjoy life as I move through it. And then what feels like a good fit for me will show up for me, and then I will take that label as is. I vacillate between, I sometimes call myself a witch, but even lately that hasn't felt like a label that really fits. Now I say more I'm a spiritual practitioner, but I still go back and forth between the two, of saying, oh yes, I'm a witch, or oh, I'm a spiritual practitioner. Maybe witch doesn't really align with me too tough, there's all sorts of different labels that you can align yourself with. And I thought I had ADHD for a while, so I was like, yes, I'm a woman with ADHD. And then that shifted, and now I'm like, oh, actually I'm ADHD. Okay, put down that label, put up this one. But once again, I said, or is it just that I'm a Gemini? Like, just move forward in this idea of I'm just enjoying life and living my life in a certain space. And if something comes up and that's the label that comes up for me, I can look into it more and find that community more and expand more there. But I'm continuously grounded and centered in my divinity and in my spirit. So anything else that happens in the physical, mind and body outside of that, and how I move through this physical 3D world, noisy motorcycle on my street, how I move through this physical world, it's just an additive. It just kind of helps me shift and move. But I'm a divine soul, a divine, powerful soul. And so the labels that help me find where I go will come and go. And that's okay. And you have to be okay in that knowledge. I hope this helps. You let me know your thoughts on labels. I find everything is balance. And for me, more and more, I am realizing, just looking at the world around me, how people are getting very tied to labels. And that was also a message that came through for me from like my ancestors, that I was too tied up with labels and it was constricting me from moving forward into the next phase of my life, the next person I'm meant to be, right? And I had to let that go. And so, yeah, look in your own life and see, where are labels helping me? Wonderful. Where do I feel that they're maybe holding me back? Where do I feel that it's a piece of clothing that I should be letting go of, but I've had it for so long that I'm afraid to let go of it, right? I'm afraid I won't find anything that will give me that experience that I had when I was wearing it, right? Or I just don't want to let go of it because I've had it for so long. What label perhaps is holding you back? And what label is freeing you? Anyways, I love you guys. Once again, my name is Janae Robinson. I'm a spiritual life coach helping Black and Brown women create a soul deep, happy life of balance and peace and joy in these very chaotic times. So I love you guys. Please make sure to subscribe and follow, and I will talk to you later.